Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Sid, and welcome back to another video. Or should I say, welcome to the world of Conqueror's Blade. A world of terrifying battles, loyalty, treachery, and hard-won glory.
As you can see, this enemy cowers in their keep, like a snail in its shell. But they will be difficult to prize out, and even harder to crush. Preparation is key, therefore. What weapons, siege machines, and armies you take with you could decide the outcome, so choose well. When battle begins, the air will thicken with fire and darken with arrows. Protect your troops behind palisades as they strain at the leash and support your advance with fire and thunder. If the foe sallies forth in a foolish display of bravery, you will need to meet them. If they stay in the shadows of their ramparts, be patient as the towers and battering rams crawl forward to breach them. Remember, sire, that when its walls fail, the enemy is at its most dangerous. You will want to lead your troops naturally to demonstrate your mastery of your chosen weapon. But you must not let the blood of battle rush to your head. Your loyal guards are your sword and your shield, and you must know when to stay protected among them and when to strike out with your unique abilities. They are well drilled and will follow your orders without question, unlike some of your allies. And you must repay them by not risking them in folly.
Today we're gonna start a little series where we explore and talk about all the stuff you see and learn when first starting the game. Conqueror's Blade is a game like no other, which makes it that some people find it difficult to get into or make choices they later regret, like picking the wrong class for you or picking the wrong stats and so on. You get the idea. So we will be playing the game like any other person would when you launch the game for the first time, but with a little twist. I'm gonna go a bit deeper to give you a full in-depth view. You should keep in mind that it takes more than simply reaching the maximum level to make yourself unconquerable. You need to learn how to obtain and distribute resources and valuables, raise a powerful army, make allies, go on challenging missions, raid your neighbors and enemies, among many other things. That's why we're going on this journey together, to help you get started in the game and to grow and become a powerful warlord. As any other RPG game, the first thing we need to do is create our character. So let's do that real quick by pressing the New Character tab. But before we can actually create a character, we need to answer some questions. Your answers will affect your character's initial stat distribution, which forms the basis of your character's abilities and advancements. We get 4 points per answer. So each basic attribute starts at 17. If you choose answers that adds to your basic armor attribute, you can start the game with an armor level of 29, which equals to plus 36 to your defense attribute. If you have a particular weapon you wish to specialize in from the start, you should pick your answers correctly. In this case, I took 2 times strength and 1 times armor as the answer. Thing to note is that you receive a single attribute point whenever you reach a new level. Since you start at level 1 and you should reach level 10 within a few hours, you can make quite a difference to your character very early on in the game. Of course, it helps to know about each attribute point in order to understand what those differences could be. So let's look at them individually. Strength affects how heavy you strike in combat. It's an important attribute for melee characters. Agility is for a bow and musket player what strength is for a melee character. However, agility isn't simply about ranged combat. Generally, agility allows for greater penetration, but strength delivers more damage. The armor attribute is primarily used to offset the damage caused by a weapon. The higher your armor attribute is, the more defense you have, the less health you will generally lose when you get hit. Not all characters can rely on armor alone though, and those that are fast moving probably would rather rely on their agility to avoid incoming damage. This doesn't mean they don't need health to survive. Each level of toughness adds 100 points to your health bar. So let's go over our questions here. When you were a child, your family gave shelter to a knight who was lost. The next morning, he asks you that you will walk him through the woods to safety. On the way, he asks you about your family. You answer, I took strength here, so we all work on my lord's farm beyond these woods. The knight nodded and asked you how you cope with living under such tyrannic lord. You answered, I'm going for armor here, so B. Father says I am to fight in our liege lord's army. You reached the edge of the woods, and the knight was met by another wearing the same silver star insignia on his tabard. Walking home alone, you swore, I took B here for strength again, so that, unlike your friend, you'd never lose a fight. Years later, when the recruiters came to town bearing that same silver star, you were the first to step forward. After answering the questions, you can select between a male and a female character. They have different statures, and they can use different weapons. You may learn various types of weapons and switch between them as you play, so the choice you make here is not final. You can try all weapon types during the tutorial, which I will show you. So, as you can see, we are now able to pick our class. On the left side we get a little description and the game gives us a bit of beginner's info for each class. Each class uses armor that suits them the best, which the game is so kind to tell us. Also visible are your primary attributes. So if you're still not sure by now which attribute you need to pick, this is the right time to see what you'll need for your class. The game also tells us how difficult each class is to play with. I recommend following these guidelines for now, until you understand all the basics. The first class we see is a longsword and shield, basically a knight. Then we got our gunner, the musket with a rifle. I guess this doesn't really need any explanation, she shoots you. Then we got our real samurai, the nodachi. A really long sword that can lifesteal from its enemies, meaning that they can heal themselves by dealing damage. We also got a short sword and shield. When we look at the difficulty level, we can see that the short sword, according to the game, is a bit more difficult to play with. We got our DPS classes as well, like the glaive, which is easy to play with as a longsword. Though the glaive has more damage and is based more on DPS rather than the longsword being more tanky. That doesn't mean you cannot build a longsword for DPS. As a female we have access to the short bow. As a male we have access to the long bow. The short bow is as a ranged weapon less difficult to play with than the musket, and it also requires light armor instead of medium. Then as final class in our list we have the dual blades, our ninja assassin class. She wields 2 daggers with which she can deal massive damage in combo attacks. The dual blades are the only class that can cloak itself and go invisible for a brief moment while fighting on the battlefield. I will show you a sparring session with each class so you can get a basic idea of the attacks and abilities they can perform. When we pick our class and named our character, we are ready to press the create button, which will activate a cutscene. After the cutscene, we end up in tutorial land. Here, we will learn all the basics of the game. By pressing P, we can open up our character and inventory page. You can also open up your inventory separately by pressing I. When we look below our minimap, we can see that we have a quest there. Find Commander Adler. When we press our left Alt key, our mouse becomes visible and movable. Now we can just click on the quest and the game will pathfind us to Adler. We can just sit back and let the game do all the work. When we reach Adler, we interact with him by pressing F. By pressing on quests, we can deliver our quest to get our rewards. Commander Adler bids you welcome. His voice booming from within his helmet he has never, as far as you know, removed. Welcome to the company of the Silver Star Cadet. Now, you've just missed our battle against that scoundrel Lord Valen, a robber baron of particular brutality. The day was ours, but he escaped, along with many of his troops. Most of our losses were among the lower ranks, which is where you come in. We get 200 hero XP from this, and 100 bronze coins, the main currency in Conqueror's Blade. The hero XP only counts towards our hero level. You also have something called honor, which is your unit XP, but we will go over that in the future. When we press complete and receive our reward, he gives us another quest. Adler gestures dismissively. Report to Captain Henry. He will supervise your instruction. He goes back to overseeing the activities of the camp. So we accept and head out to find Captain Henry. Again, we just press the quest using left alt and let the game pathfind us to Henry. When we talk to him, we can enter the weapons training. Here we can try out all different classes. But first we will follow the directions the game gives us and attack this dummy. This is our regular attack. Now this is our ability. After the dummy is destroyed, we need to talk to Rupert, who will spar with us. We can get a better look at the short sword class now. First, let's test the dodge. When an enemy has a white bar below their health bar, that's their defense. When you break that bar, they will run out of stamina and drop their shield so you can attack. The first ability we get on this class is a shield bash. Now that we saw the short sword, let's test out our other classes. The long sword and shield is up next. This class is similar to the short sword, but has a damage based ability as first in line. I miss my ability here. Next class is Glaive. Don't forget to heal when your health is low, by the way. Every class has the same heal skill. It has a cooldown of 60 seconds. And when you use your heal, don't move or do any action because it will cancel your skill. Some classes, like the longsword, also have an ability that can heal them. Immediately, we can see that the glaive does more damage than the shield classes, but sacrificing a lot of defense. This class uses a whirlwind attack where she spins the glaive around, hitting everything in her immediate surroundings. Next up is an Odachi. It has a wider reach than you would think, but the movements take some getting used to. The Nodachi's first ability is a damage-based slash attack. Then we have the rifle class. Right away, as we swap over to the musket, we instantly zoom in on our character's back. The game does this so it's easier for you to use this ranged class. One thing of note, the musket needs to reload every time it fires. The class has a lock-on system that it uses to aim. As we see, it is not very effective against the shield, but when it hits, it can do some serious damage. The musket's bullets do stun the enemy, so make use of that as much as possible. The first ability we get here is a shotgun-like spread shot. Then we have our assassin class, the dual blades. The assassin throws her daggers as her first ability, and then just goes berserk on the target with her daggers. When we are finished sparring, we can talk to the guard to get back to Tutorial Island. Once there, we need to talk to the commander again to get our rewards. This is what he has to say. "You've completed your training with almost no bruises. Quite impressive," says Adler, his tiny, bloodshot eyes squinting at you through his visor. "You have plenty of chances to test your skill before you die. I can assure you Valen is not done with us quite yet." We went to level 2 here and a new quest opened up for us. The Path to Mastery. Adler tells us, "I expected the officers under my command to have a mastery of the weapons they wield in our service. Go and find Master Lucas, the Master at Arms. He and I have served together for many a year, and he will instruct you further." So we need to find Lucas, the Master at Arms, to unlock a new weapon skill. I'm gonna end it here for this episode. So next episode we will start off with this quest and get ourselves a new skill and see where Lucas will take us. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, be so kind to leave a like. If you are new to the channel and don't want to miss out on any of my videos, just click on the subscribe button and ring the bell. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace!
Shot!
And the battle continues!
Char!